everyone, my name is Selfriyana Tinake and I am here to discuss about a topic that is often discussed but still quite concerning, which is unemployment in Indonesia. But don't worry, we'll keep the conversational, light, and like we're just having a coffee together. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get started. So here's the deal. According to the latest data from Central Statistic Agency, or as we know as BPS, as on February 2025, the open unemployment rate, or TPT, in Indonesia is 4.76%, a slight decrease from the previous year. This means that out of every 100 people in the labor force, about 5 are unemployed. It might seem small, but considering our labor force exceeds 152 million people, that's over 7.28 million individuals are jobless. Anyway, before diving into causes and solutions, let's understand first, what is unemployment? Unemployment refers to the condition where individuals of working age are actively seeking employment, but are unable to find a work. And there are several types of unemployment, which is one is structural unemployment. Occurs due to the shift on economy that create mismatch between the skills workers have and the skills needed. 2. Frictional unemployment. It happens when people are between jobs or entering the workforce for the first time. 3. Seasonal employment linked to a seasonal work like agricultural and tourism. 4. Cyclical unemployment, which is related to the up and downs of the economy during recession and unemployment rises. So why is unemployment such a big issue? Because it's not just about individuals lacking income. It affects overall consumption, reducing purchasing power, and decreases national productivity. And ultimately, it can slow down the economic growth of the country. And what disheartening is that a significant portion of the unemployment are high school and universities graduates.
5 Gen Zs are unemployed. That's according to latest government data. It's become a hot topic on social media, with many young people speaking out about their experiences.
10 million Gen Zs are unemployed. They're not studying, they're not working. What do they want? Hearing that news, I somewhat relate to it.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Rafa Athala from ABC's Indonesian team. Rafa, perfect person to speak to here, being from Gen Z yourself. Tell us, how are young Indonesians feeling about this issue?
Yeah, so it's a really big issue that's happening at the moment. Nearly 10 million Gen Zs. That is such a massive
Staggering.
amount. Yeah, and more than 20% of the generation overall. So yeah, it's happening to a lot of people, and it's happening actually to some of my friends, because when I went back to Indonesia a few months ago for a holiday, I was catching up with a few of them, and then some of them are struggling to find jobs despite just graduating. They were all fresh grads, and I did find it pretty odd because they were really hard workers, they did really well in university, and some of them even have internship experience even before graduating. So when I knew I was working on this story, I wanted to cover their experiences and hear more about their stories. Here's what some of them, Alia and Indra, have to say.
Aku kan juga sebenarnya udah punya experience, aku S2, tapi tetap juga susah cari kerja. And I think a lot of them interviewed me until the last step, and it took like a month for the whole process. But at the end of the day, they said that, oh, we actually don't need this position, so we're not gonna accept anyone, and then the position is closed.
Ya, itu sih. I think it's a contradicting value ya menurut aku. Kayak kita fresh grad, tapi mereka expect kita untuk punya experience yang lebih. Jadi tuh kita sebenarnya dari kuliah juga nggak ada yang diajarin untuk benar-benar kayak tahu pekerjaan dunia luar tuh kayak gimana gitu, pekerjaan kantoran atau apa tuh kita belum ada bayangan.
I really feel for these young people, and I guess they have to be creative in terms of how they respond to this issue. What's the government been doing and saying about it?
Yeah, so the current Minister of Manpower of Indonesia, Ida Fauzia, eventually addressed this issue, and she mentioned that the high rate of unemployment among Gen Z is because that there's a disconnect between what professions that Gen Z are taking and studying versus the professions that are actually needed in the workforce/industry. And the ABC Indonesian team, we talked to an expert about all of this, and she somewhat agree with this sentiment that the minister said. And the expert basically said that there's such a high prioritization and focus on getting higher education degrees in Indonesian society in general and not vocational graduates, which is really, really unfortunate because Indonesia actually really needs a lot of graduates, like vocational graduates, especially in sectors such as agriculture, mining, forestry, sectors that are actually really vital for the Indonesian economy. Here's more of what the expert had to say.
Manusianya ada tapi tidak mampu memenuhi kebutuhan yang dicari oleh industri. Pendidikan vokasi yang justru sebenarnya menyiapkan karpet merah untuk ke industri itu justru dianggap pendidikan kelas kedua atau bahkan kelas ketiga.
It's not just about the educational levels, it's also about the lack of job opportunities and skill mismatches. Okay, so what's the solution? The government has implemented the program like the pre-employment card, vocational training, and incentive for SMEs and the creative industry. But we must also realize that solution not only comes from the top. We, as the younger generation, need to be adaptive and continuously learn new skills that is required to the jobs requirements nowadays. Digital skills, critical thinking, and having an entrepreneurial mindset are crucial because in the future, those who can adapt will thrive, not just the smartest one. So that was our brief discussion on unemployment in Indonesia. I hope it provided you with new insight. Be part of solution, not just as the observer. And if you guys have thoughts about the unemployment or want to share about your job hunting experiences, please comment below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos. Bye bye!